UFC Fight Night, Rose Namajunas, Tracy Cortez, Andy and Jim here. Welcome to Winning in the Shadows. We're going to break down each fight, and there's no time to waste. Let's get right into it, Jim. Josh Fremd and Andre Petroski. If there's anything better than a Andre Petroski fight, it's an Andre Petroski fight in high altitude in Denver. I actually sneakily think this could be a fun first round. I think they get tired after that if it makes it out of the first round. But I actually think with both these guys energized, it's kind of similar skill sets. What's your take on Fremd and Petroski?
Two not bet on fighters. Let's start with that right there. So that already is one checkbox in the no bet section. I think that Petroski is definitely going to be live in the first round for a submission. After that, I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that anybody finishes this fight. It's either going to end really early or we're looking at a grind fest where guys are just exhausted. Like in round two, we know Fremd's weakness is going to be the submission defense. You can't get submitted by a weird bulldog choke from Trayshawn Gore and expect to do well against Petroski. But I have a feeling that once Petroski's gas tank starts to go, he's going to resort back to that lay and pray style, where I could just see him on top of Fremd and just holding him down. Fremd is going to have a size advantage here, which I think is going to be interesting to see. I do think this is going to be a very good live bet fight. I think you're going to know pretty early here where this fight is going to go, about 2 minutes in. I would lean Petroski because of his game. That being said, if it gets out of round two and we see that Petroski cardio go in Denver, Josh Fremd could be live. So I'll be watching this with my finger hovering over the button, waiting to see who I can get a good number on. I don't think you bet either of these guys at even money. They're minus 110 both ways, and you're never going to ever talk me into that. So I'll wait for live lines and see if I can get a better line.
I'm with you that there's absolutely no chance you can find any kind of value in betting on either one of these guys. I like the size advantage that Fremd has, but he just seems to have a very low ceiling. I mean, okay, you beat Dumas and Jamie Pickett. It is kind of interesting. I mean, loses to Anthony Hernandez. That loss doesn't go to decision.
Yeah,
against Hernandez. That looks good. Losing to Kopylov, that was just. He was fed to the wolves on that one. There was just a horrible matchup. The Trayshawn Gore thing was so weird because he was winning that fight. Gore pulls off this. He pulls off this. It was like a panic submission. I've never seen a submission like that. He about ripped Fremd's head completely off his body as a pure, just like gritty self-defense like type of thing. It was the strangest.
It was 2 seconds away from a WWE finisher. It looked
it really was. It was an RKO almost.
Yes.
So Fremd is very limited. I mean, kind of everywhere, but I do like the size difference he has. Can I tempt you with an interesting parlay piece here?
Certainly.
Over 1.5 rounds is only minus 195. I think these guys are pretty equal, and at this altitude, I think you talked about getting out of round one or getting around two. I think Petroski is going to be tired in round one, and I also think Fremd isn't going to be that far behind him. I think I give the a slight cardio edge to Fremd. I think this is going to be exhausting for these two. Petroski carries a little bit too much muscle on his frame for my liking. You can just tell his striking, it just has to work so hard at that striking. I think after like the 3-minute mark, I'm going, how is this fight going to go much longer? So I guess, though, if it goes over 1.5 rounds, is it going to go the distance? I just wonder about one guy getting completely exhausted, where just like I'm dead to the world. I don't know. That over 1.5 really has my attention. What do you think?
That was the one, excuse me, the one spot that I thought there was some value on, because I think if it goes past 3 minutes, I think it's going the distance.
Yeah, none of these guys are knocking out. They're not knocking out. That's not their game. So maybe that's the way to get it going. And I guess we should talk a little bit about the altitude. And actually, this is a pretty good spot to really understand what we're getting into. This is in Denver, Colorado. And we notoriously had our worst PFL night at altitude in Salt Lake City. So it's something we have to take into consideration, isn't it?
It 100% is. This is the second highest altitude that they fight at. Mexico City being number one, highest altitude. It's going to have an effect. It just is. And I know everybody's talking about it. And I'm cut from the cloth where I used to feel that altitude equaled unders. I'm changing my tune. I'm definitely changing my tune on this. I think in high-level fights, altitude equals unders. Because in a high-level fight, you have a guy on one side who has the finishing ability and has the cardio. With low-level fights, beginning of the card fights, both guys aren't top 5 contenders. Like, you just end up with just this disaster of a mess, a clinch fest, bad position, leaning up against the fence, stalling. I think you're going to hear a lot of clapping from the referees on this card saying, come on, let's work. So that'd be a fun drinking game.
That's a great drinking game. Yes. There's your Denver, Colorado UFC fight. Anytime you come on, let's work. That's great. Let's talk about Montel Jackson and Damon Blackshear. Interesting fight. I have this one pegged as an over. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. This is two guys that look like they should be absolute monsters, and they fight like Jane and look like Tarzan. It's just, I don't see the finishes coming in this fight. I don't see where it comes from. Blackshear likes to push a pretty heavy pace. This is on short notice. Whether he was training or not, we'll look into. We'll find that out a little bit more later in the week. It is early in the week. No shame in that loss to Mario Batista. Okay, look good.
And that was a very short notice fight.
Very short notice fight, again. But, you know, is Blackshear getting to be like this Charles Johnson from last year? Where it's like, give me the short notice fight. Give me the money. Give me the short notice fight. Not a good career strategy. You know, if you're trying to get paid, that's one thing. But
maybe it is. Charles Johnson has made he's probably a top 5 paid fighter.
Well, we'll get to Charles Johnson later on in this card.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an over for me. I don't think Blackshear is going to submit him. I think he's going to have a little trouble closing the gap and getting the takedown. And again, I think that these guys are going to be tired in round 2. And at that point, if these fighters are smart, and you know it's been said in their camp, look, if we don't get the early finish, we got to pace ourselves a little bit here. They know they're going to have to be able to win a decision on this card and in this fight especially, I think so.
Yeah, I look at Blackshear, goes to decision against Alal, goes to decision against Basharat, goes to decision against Bautista. He gets the crazy twister on Jose Johnson, who we're not high on, and then Luan Lacerda's leaves a lot to be desired on this one. So he's, I don't know, Blackshear, I guess you would say on the ground is kind of where he's best at, but I think Montel Jackson's athletic enough and got the defense to kind of, thwart any of those. I mean, listen, you're never going to knock a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. However,
we can do it on this one.
Jesse Strader, JP Pies, Julio Arce, and Ronnie Yaya, it leaves a lot to be desired. Now, listen, you fight who they put in front of you, and he's done his thing, and he's 4 fights in a row. But I just can't get there. I think these guys are equal, and yeah, you're right. I don't know where the finish comes from. He knocked out old Ronnie Yaya, and then he's knocked out Jesse Strader, and other than that, it's just a lot of decisions in there. I think these guys are equal. I don't care about a side. I would take overs on this one as well. Jackson's a little bit of Jackson's a minus 155. I guess that kind of makes a little bit sense to me. I think Montel Jackson's got a little bit more pep on his step in the striking, but I'm certainly not willing to lay up. But Montel Jackson and Blackshear over 2.5 at minus 215. Yeah, I'll parlay Fremd and Jackson on the overs all day long in this card. So, you brought up something interesting that you could do with this fight card, and it's like if you're just looking to scrape together a couple units, it's like take the first 2 fights to go over, and if they do go over, you're done. But if one of them finishes, then just take the next 2. And if one of those, just you're gonna hit a few of them in a row. It's like we've seen it with the gloves. the altitude with the lack of finishers on this card, it's kind of a funny strategy, but you're probably right. There's probably going to be a stunning amount of overs on this.
I think there is going to be. What else do you think is you take the Petroski fight and the Blackshear fight both to go over. After the Petroski fight, if that wins, you take the Blackshear fight and the Jasudavicius fight to go over. If that one's in, you already cashed your ticket. Now you take Jazz and another fight to go over. It's like just snowball it, you know.
Yeah, it's I don't know. There's ways to make money on this card, and I really do think it's on the overs here. So, Luana Santos and Mariya Agapova. Man, my heart goes out to Mariya Agapova. Doesn't feel like life has been very kind to her. You've got somebody that openly had to fight Julian Robertson because she had to get money to pay for a surgery. She was openly fighting on a torn ligament. We cashed on that fight, not nearly big enough because this is a gambling show, and at the end of the day, our job is to make money. Then she has this story that comes out a while ago. She's going homeless due to lack of fights. We have injury. We have money problems. We have some very disturbing things. So because this is a gambling show and a betting show, it is absolutely fade poor Mariya Agapova. It's the parlay piece, I think, on this card. Luana Santos is not great. She had a nice win against Stephanie Egger, which, you know, if you're going to go to decision against Stephanie Egger, I think you're fine against, you know, if you go to decision with Stephanie Egger and win, and then you go to decision against Agapova, you're probably going to win here. Santos is the play. She's almost minus 400. You never want to lay minus 400 on a women's fight, but my Lord, Agapova is just not in a good spot in life, it feels right now. So Luana Santos is the play, and to me, it probably isn't close. What do you think?
Well, if Agapova's going to win, it's going to be early. It's pretty cut and dry here. I think this is one of the more predictable fights on the card. If Agapova wins, it's going to be a round one knockout. I think it's going to be quick. Santos' striking is not great. However, Agapova, I went and watched all of her losses. Her grappling defense, I'm not talking about the takedown defense. I mean, once it's on the ground, she is as lost as Michael Venom Page on the ground. Just lost. The sequence where Julian was getting her back and got the choke in. She's just flailing her arms. She's not even hand fighting. She's not trying to counter the triangle. It's like somebody is submitting a dummy, a crash test dummy. Like, there's no skill there. And I don't know if she's had the time to improve her game when she is rehabbing injuries. It's not progression of your game. You're trying to get back to 100% so that you can fight again and make some money. So I don't believe that we're going to see big improvements from Agapova. What I like about Santos is that she's 7-1. She's not 7-0. She's 7-1.
Oh, great. Okay. I like where you're going
I
with
like
this one.
to see that one loss. And that loss is to Jenna Bishop by decision. Another grappler. She did not lose to a striker.
Yeah.
She's beaten other grapplers as well. So I don't see her striking being a problem. If this fight gets 2 minutes in, we could see a massive adrenaline dump for Agapova. Where I'm going with this is this. I think this is one fight on this card where we're all predicting overs that we're going to see an under. And it's going to be in a women's fight out of the blue. I very much see Santos getting a submission on Agapova when she's just got nothing left. And if you play the under, if Agapova gets that knockout in round one, you're cashing. So I don't want to lay $3.95 on Santos. I don't want to bet on Mariya Agapova. If I can get a good number on the under 2.5, I'm in. That's a play for me.
Yeah. Poor Agapova. Yeah, it was one of the biggest live lines that I've ever hit. This was back in 2020. I don't even know if you and I knew
Shannon
each
Dobson.
other. The Shannon Dobson fight. When she just had the adrenaline dump, and it was like, uh-oh, and you could get plus 900 on Shannon Dobson, who's 3-4.
That was a shoulda, woulda, coulda for me. I was out that night, and I said I want to
Oh,
live
no.
bet that fight, and I forgot about it. And as soon as I turned it on my phone, you saw Dobson getting her hand raised, and I went, no.
Yeah,
No.
well, I'll be my bankroll will be pulling for Luana Santos. My heart will be hoping that better days are ahead for Agapova. Let's move on to Jasmine, Jasudavicius, and I think it's Fatima Kline or Fatima Kline.
Fatima Kline, I believe.
Fatima Kline. So forgive me if I mispronounce that. Fatima Kline making her UFC debut. She's only 6-0 in MMA, but make no mistake, she has grappling. Plenty of grappling matches. So, Jim, what's your take on this fight? I'll let you go first on this.
I'm very mad at the MMA gods because I was ready to put a massive bet on Jazz over her previous opponent. And then we had the change, and we're stuck with Kline. Kline is a legitimate prospect. However, go back and watch her fights and see who she's beating. She is not facing a great level of competition. And what do I always say? Is there a 1 in that loss column, or is there a 0?
No, she's 6-0.
There's a 0.
I know, but she's lost in grappling. She's tasted defeat.
True. She has tasted defeat in grappling. I like to see 1 loss, 2 losses on records because that means that you've come back from a loss and learned something. So I'm very curious with this fight to see if things don't go her way, what kind of fighter we have. Because in watching her fights, there's not a lot of times where things don't go her way. I mean, she's looked pretty damn good. But this level of competition, people were talking about her being a 2-division champ in her previous organization. Well, Jasudavicius would be a 3-division champ in that organization.
Yeah.
So Jazz was training for this card. Fatima's not. She is pretty much a weight class down naturally. So this will be interesting. Their heights are listed pretty similar, but I'm curious at face-offs if we're going to see a real difference in the thickness of Jasudavicius. I think Jazz can win this fight. I do think it's going the distance. If Jasmine switches and stays an underdog, I'd be very interested in the +3.5 either side in this fight on either woman. But I'm going to take the UFC veteran in this. I think Jazz is going to pull out a close decision in this and have a little bit more gas in round 3.
There's one just very, very strange thing here, and this is that she lost to Juliana Miller in a grappling match. Juliana Miller in a grappling match. That's an odd one. I wouldn't put Juliana Miller high on my list of women that won a lot of grappling matches in her day. But here we are. Over. I think over. I think this is my favorite over on this card. They both kind of do similar things. Is that they want it in close. They're going to want to wrestle. They're going to want to clinch. And I'm not sure either one of them is going to have the submission game over the other because they both have cardio that will be able to go the distance. Neither one of them is going to get lazy. I know what you're saying about Kline and the lack of competition that she's faced, but look at this. I mean, even going to decision in CFFC, she gets a late finish against someone I've never heard of, and then decision, and you look at Jasmine, and Jasmine's involved a lot of these fights that go long. I mean, Cachoeira, that's a late finish. Tracy Cortez decision, Mariya Maverick decision, Fernandez decision, even Natalia Silva decision, Kay Hansen. It's just decision. This screams over for me. I think it's probably going to be my favorite over and parlay piece on this card. I would give the edge to Jasmine. I'm with you that the UFC veteran just seems to maybe have a little bit more, and I just have it's just hard to figure out Kline if she's UFC caliber. Honestly, she could look great and go, oh yeah, she was totally ready. Or it might be like in the first few minutes, you're like, oh boy, she is not ready. She's not ready for this one. So
she was slated for the Contender Series as well.
Yes.
So they pulled her from. So she's been on the. She's been on the UFC's radar.
Absolutely.
So I do believe she's a prospect, but I don't know who she was going to fight on Contender, but it wasn't Jasmine Jasudavicius.
No.
That's a fact.
No, it was not.
So even being ready for the big lights, this is a different kind of bright lights.
I know they've already started coming out with Contender Series matchups. I will tell you right now, I am one of the biggest Contender Series fans ever. I don't even start looking at the matchups until the week before because of shit like this. The week one matchups are out, and 3 out of those 5 matches will not exist. Don't even worry about looking into the fighters. Like, everything changes when we get to Contender Series here. Josh Van and Charles Johnson. I think Charles Johnson. If I'm being serious, in the last 3 years, would it surprise you if he was like a top 15 moneymaker? Like in terms of how
a salary? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It wouldn't shock me.
It would be like the big name guys and also just like Charles Johnson. It's like, Charles Johnson? Really? It's like, well, yeah, he's fought 15 times in a couple years. So, no, I'm kidding. He is not. But Josh Van, Charles Johnson. Broken record here. Love the over. It's a Charles Johnson fight. Give me the over. He just, to me, doesn't do anything great. I remember when he first came in to UFC, it was like, well, he defends the takedown and he doesn't get submitted on the ground. It's like, well, that's not like a compliment. That's just saying you don't get finished a whole lot. Sure enough, he's lost, but he has not been finished since being in the UFC. The only fight that hasn't gone to decision is against Jimmy Flick, who is the under god. I like Josh Van as a fighter. I think he's got pretty good skills, but I don't know, man. Minus 205. I don't think I'm ready to lay minus 205. Instead, I will just happily take this fight to go the distance because I think Johnson's going to keep up with him cardio-wise on the feet. I think he's shifty enough to not get caught with any of Van's, power. And beating Felipe, but whatever. Felipe is terrible. Not finishing Kevin Borjas. Borjas is not that good. Split decision against Zalgas. I don't know. I think Van's a little bit overrated. I don't know why. We just see these guys that are just big-time fan favorites, and sometimes I think they're overrated. I think he's overrated. I'm not picking Johnson to win. I think this is a very, very close decision fight, and I will just take the over and be happy with that. What do you think?
I'm with you there, man. I do think Van wins. I do think Van wins. 205 is a little too rich for me. I don't want to be at 205. I think that Charles Johnson's cardio is going to save him in this fight, and that's what makes me like the over. I do think he's going to get clipped. I think he's going to get hurt. But we've seen Johnson be able to fight through. I mean, say what you say about him, but, like, God, the guy gets rocked, he gets dropped, he gets put in submissions. You think it's over, and he just wiggles out. He loses decisions in that case, but he just wiggles out of them. He constantly wiggles out. I thought that Azat Maxim fight was way closer than a unanimous decision. I was shocked when that was a unanimous decision. I had picked Hadley to beat him, ate my, fist in mouth on that one. That was my fault. But I think that Van is the goods. I like that Van has a loss already on his record. The kid is making strides, and being only 22 years old, you will see improvement fight to fight, and that's what we've seen with him. I don't know if his level right now is warranting a minus 205 against a veteran like Charles Johnson. So I will take this fight to go the distance, and I will sit back and hope nobody gets finished.
Yeah, this is going to be his 9th fight in less than 2 years in the UFC.
That's like Kevin Holland numbers.
It's like right? Leon Edwards' career.
Come on, he's a fighting champ, Andy. He's a fighting champion.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, fighting to stay out of fights. Cody Brundage and Abdul Razak Alhassan. It's the fight. It's not the fight we wanted. It's the fight we needed. I'll let you go first on this one. What do you think?
What a tangled MMA world we weave, where I want to bet on Cody Brundage so bad, and I haven't. The number is, I think that's where all the value is on Cody Brundage. Alhassan is still one-dimensional. He's not going to throw anything new at us whatsoever. Really, the whole thing is, can Cody not be an idiot for 2.5 minutes? Can he not get head kick knocked out in 2.5 minutes? Can he pull a guillotine and finish a guillotine against Abdul Razak Alhassan? But at plus 140, the only way you're betting this fight is Cody Brundage. You are. How could Abdul be chalk to anybody in the UFC?
Laughable. It's laughable.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I will not have my money anywhere near that. If anything, I'm betting Cody. And I'm probably betting Cody by decision submission. I don't see him knocking him out. I think if he gets the wrestling going early, Cody can make this fight look pretty easy. But it all depends on the mental makeup. I wonder if this I'm drawing a blank. Who did he just fight?
Brundage or Alhassan?
Brundage. Bo Nickel.
Well,
Bo Nickel.
yeah.
I wonder if this Bo Nickel loss is the moment that galvanizes Cody Brundage's career. He's still a young man. He's not like he's a 36-year-old veteran that drops the ball. Is this the moment where he realizes, I can hang? Like, I'm good. And I think with Cody, a lot of his losses have been from the neck up. Very rarely does it have anything to do with below. It's all in his head. I even think when his cardio goes, it's more of a panic mode. Because the guy trains. Mm-hmm. He's in great shape. He knows how to wrestle. So, I mean, give me Cody at the plus money. Haven't bet it yet. Something's keeping me off it. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, just wait and see. We'll see.
He's got incredible management, man. So he loses to Oleg Kasachek, Rodolfo Vieira, and then just puts on one of the worst fights in UFC history, the one against Cedric Dumas, where he just gave up in like the second round. Gives up. So he loses that one. Is getting steamrolled by Jacob Malkoun, and you can literally hear him being cut from the UFC's roster in the first round, and then just gets bailed out by the weakest of reffing calls in UFC history, where the back of the head falls down like he was like Malkoun hit him with a sledgehammer, and then dumbass ref has the nerve to just DQ Malkoun. So management, Dana was just like, get this MFer out of here. I got no use for him. Management is like, give him a contender series guy. Mm-hmm. He'll lose to Zach Reese, and Zach Reese will, it gets you a way to get him out of there. And then what happens? Zach Reese makes one dumb move, and in 1,000,000 to 1 chance, like Brundage slams him, knocks him out. It's like, all right. Now what do we do with Brundage? It's like, I know, we'll give him to Bo Nickel. And it's like, well, how can you penalize him for losing to Bo Nickel in round 2? So he's survived a couple of sacrificial lamb fights, and now this is another one. It would surprise me at the slightest if he's just like a cockroach where you cannot get rid of him. And all of a sudden, Alhassan wobbles him a few times, gets tired at the altitude, falls asleep, and Brundage gets win. I'm with you. Brundage is the only way to play this one. This is a bummer where you can't do live lines on overs because, I mean, if there's not a first round finish, this thing's going the distance, I think. I don't see how either one of these guys has any type of energy in rounds 2 or 3, and it might be one of those mutual, hug and hang on. I could see it going to the ground and Alhassan just trying to hang on. Brundage just cannot get the finish, and it's like the who was the who did Abus just fight? Where it was just like, oh, it's gonna go good. This is gonna be way under, and then they couldn't finish each other in the first round, and they were dead.
Worley Alves.
Yeah, that's
Worley
right.
Alves.
Where they had no energy in rounds 2 or 3. It was just like, you can see what was happening there. So, I don't have the cojones to take the over 1.5, but man, it's minus 105. It's probably just better to take the fight just to go the distance at a big plus money if you think something wonky's going on. But I'm with you. Brundage is the play here, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I really can't.
I know. It's wild. It's wild, man. It's wild.
Yeah. Guys, if you could hit the like button, it helps the algorithm out. We are getting this YouTube channel started, so go ahead and like and subscribe if you could, please. That way you get notified on all of our videos. We've just started uploading NFL Future videos, which we will be doing all summer long. And, of course, our Discord channel is free. A lot of great free plays we put in there. A lot of good discussion, so join there. That's where we talk about the road to millions, bankroll management, units, recaps, and all that stuff. So a lot of good things coming for the YouTube channel. But like and subscribe. That way you get notified when we're doing all of our breakdown videos. All right, let us get to our next fight. Christian Rodriguez and Julian Erosa. I'm interested in your take on this one. What do you think?
I've been trying to ask myself all week, is Julian Erosa going to turn Christian Rodriguez into a knockout artist? Is his chin that bad to where Christian Rodriguez could finally get a finish knockout here? Because that kills you on the over-under. I mean, that's the fight in a nutshell, isn't it? I don't see Erosa getting that tired.
100% is. 100%.
Right? That's it. It's all you got to talk about. They both have good cardio. Okay, Erosa, for all his faults, has good cardio. He's a veteran. He knows how to pace himself. Is his chin going to hold up to Christian Rodriguez? And this is also Christian Rodriguez up a weight class, which he was forced to make. They said, no more trying to cut down to 35. You're fighting at 45. Okay. So he's going to be at a size disadvantage. But that chin of Erosa, it's a Julian Erosa fight. Like, what more is there to say other than that? I haven't made a decision whether it's going to be the chin of Erosa or the punching power of Rodriguez that's going to win this fight. I don't know yet. I'm leaning Rodriguez. I think that the UFC is starting to realize they have something with this kid. I think they tried to fade him. They tried to put him in some tough matchups. The kid's got heart for days. He's going to fight through everything. I don't see Erosa locking up a submission. And if he gets in a situation like the last fight for Rodriguez, where his opponent locked him up in a bunch of submissions and was squeezing and beat him up, and then all of a sudden Christian Rodriguez is still there, Erosa is going to be in deep, 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 deep trouble. If his arm's gas, Rodriguez is going to put it on him in 2 and 3. So I'm leading C-Rod at minus 200. Can't really get there. I don't know. I'll see where I get here. I want to hear fighter interviews. I want to see weigh-ins. I want to see if we see a different, refreshed Rodriguez here at this different weight class, see how he looks, and then I'll make my decision from there. But I would lean Rodriguez. I think he can touch the chin.
Julian Erosa's chin is like, bye, bye, bye. This is like the NSYNC song. It's gone. Gone. KO'd against Caceres, KO'd against Padilla. And I know he got a win against Ricardo Ramos, but not before he got knocked on his ass a couple times. Mm-hmm. And the only reason he got the win is because Ricardo Ramos refused to stand up with him.
Yes.
I mean, it's not an epidemic, but I mean, how many times do we see these guys make these dumb mistakes? We lost the fight.
No, you can say
Brady
it's an epidemic. You can say it's an epidemic. There's an epidemic of bad coaches in professional martial arts, okay? Bad coaches. How you let your fighters do this, I don't know. When you hurt a guy, stand him up.
Especially when you're fighting guys like Brady Hiestand and Julian Erosa, when they get knocked on their ass and they're wobbly, the only chance they have is to recover. No. You make them stand up. But most of them are going to get dizzy just trying to stand up anyways.
Exactly.
So Ricardo Ramos, not only does he let Julian Erosa up, he sticks his neck like right into a guillotine choke. This should be 0-3. Listen, Christian Rodriguez, we haven't seen a whole lot of striking from him. It just is not going to take much. It just isn't going to take much. And the other thing is, if this gets on the ground where Rodriguez probably wants it to be, the chin's still live to get wobbled if he gets on top.
Ground and pound? Yeah, 100%.
Ground and pound, so... Yeah, I'm with you. The minus 205, I'm not a big fan of. But then you just look over and you're like, are you really going to bet on Julian Erosa, whose chin is just like, it's non-existent at this point? You have to avoid big shots for the entire fight. That's the thing about, like, you got bad cardio. Yeah, you might be able to hug and maybe squeak out a couple. You got a bad chin, man. You get hit once, it's your weakness is unbelievably exposed. So, yeah, for me, it's Christian Rodriguez. I don't know if I want to play it at minus 200. I just think there's some overs that I like a lot better with it. Because you're right, Julian Erosa does have skill. You know, no one doubts his striking and no one doubts his movement. And we watched him get the submission on Ramos. You know, it wasn't an amazing submission. It wasn't super skillful, but, you know, he did pull it off. But I don't know. I can't take much on this fight, so it's probably a pass from a betting perspective. So, we have another Bonfim fight where the Bonfim fighter is like minus 350. This time we got Gabriel Bonfim against Ange Loosa. What do you think about this fight?
So everybody wants to fade Ange Loosa because of the Brian Battle fight.
They're not wrong.
That being said, it was a very bad look. It was a bad look.
Yes, it was a bad look.
But that's Brian Battle, okay? If you put Brian Battle and Gabriel Bonfim in a fight, I'm taking Brian Battle, okay? I'm taking Brian Battle 10 times out of 10 in that fight. I think this is a recency bias fight if I've ever seen one. Ange Loosa is not a bad fighter. He had a bad moment, okay? Had a bad moment in the cage. I am not betting on these Bonfims, especially this one, until he shows me that he is some resemblance of a well-thought-out tactical game plan. I am not betting a marauder in altitude against a guy who's proven he can win decisions. I don't think this Bonfim can win a decision at this level. So he's going to go for it early. I have a feeling he didn't learn a damn thing. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Ange Loosa pull away in round 2 and round 3. Possibly get Bonfim out of there. That's the other thing I have a question about Gabriel, is what kind of fight does this man have in him when things do not go his way? So I know I'm being a little, he does have this one loss now, so, well, he should have learned from it. I don't know, man. I think he's too much confident in his own skills, where I don't think we're going to see a massive improvement or change in strategy. I think he's going to go back to what worked for him, and he's probably going to make the same mistake again. So
yeah,
I think Loosa's the well, we'll get to that. I think he ruins a parlay.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the question for both of the bold themes, and you got, he gets the quick one against Trey Waters in Contender Series. He looked great. Lazez just mounts him real quick, but the problem with these wins against Lazez and Giles is we didn't see what substance he has, and we saw it against Dalby. He got Dalbied, and it was predictable. We said it was going to happen. We said he's going to come out like a maniac, and if he doesn't finish him, which he didn't, it was over. And you could just see the moment. You could see the moment it was over. You could just see where it's like, not only is Bonfim not going to win, but he's going to lose. And he's probably going to lose by finish, and bang, then all of a sudden there it was. So, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, that look against Brian Battle was so bad. And what made it pretty bad was you look at who he fought before, and it was like, where's McKee? McKee's not super powerful blitzing forward. Like, he's a piece you apart on that, journeyman guy, and Loosa gets takedowns and, wins by decision. AJ Fletcher, whatever, loses to Lazez, loses to Madalena. He does take him to decision. I like the over. I like the over in this one. I think
1.5, 2.5. What is it?
Give me the 1.5 at minus 160. Here's why.
Okay.
Bonfim is going to try and mind his P's and Q's. That we do see this when fighters get their first loss. It's a little bit of an overreaction. We saw it with Carlos Olberg. When he was trying to remember his early fight?
Yes.
When he was trying to manage his cardio, and I think he threw 2 punches in the first round, or something, something like that. So I think Bonfim really learned his lesson. Like, you go for the finish when you really injure the guy or when you really hurt the guy, but you got to set it up. You're at this level, you're not going to be able to blitz. And you're right. Brian Battle would be a minus 200 against Bonfim, or at least he should be. So I don't think him getting torched against Brian Battle is that big of a comparison. But I do think he is tough enough, and I do think he is good enough to get Bonfim on the ground and at least hold him there a little bit and wear some of that energy out. And like we saw against Dalby, you don't have to take a lot of energy away from the Bonfims before they lose their finishing ability. And at altitude, if I'm Loosa's corner, the plan is you hold on for dear life in the first round. Like, as soon as that bell hits, you go across the ring and you get close to him and you grab him and you get on top of him, and you don't stick your neck in weird positions or anything like that. So I like the over. I think Bonfim's going to be a little bit more cautious, especially at altitude. I think Loosa's going to try and get some grappling, and I'm with you. This could be a greasy decision that I will be terrified to have any money in. So as much as I like the over, I probably am not going to get to the window on it, but I think it's a sneaky over 1.5 on this one. Drew Dober and Gene Silva, your boy, Gene Silva. I will let you go first on this one. You now have a hate-hate relationship with Gene Silva.
We have a vendetta here.
Be honest. Do you hate Gene Silva or Charles Jourdain?
Oh, I hate both of them pretty equally. Nothing good came out of that fight for me or for Charles Jourdain. Nothing good came out. So,
all right. Well, let's
I was wrong. I was wrong.
It's all right. Let's talk about him versus Drew Dober.
Yeah, I think this is a different matchup, man. And I'm trying to take my wanting to fade, Gene Silva out of this. This is a huge step up in competition, like absolutely massive. This is a second fight in 3 weeks. That's a no-no. I don't care what weight class
Charles Johnson would beg to differ, sir.
Well, then, if that's the case, he'll just keep losing them decisions then. We'll see what happens. I just think this is a different animal. Drew Dober was training for this card at altitude. Last time Drew Dober came out, he didn't look good. We found out that was a fade the baby. The fact that fight went the distance. Now, keep in mind, too, that fight was close. Very close. And if you remember correctly, Drew Dober went for a takedown in round 3. Probably one of the worst IQ moments that cost him the fight. He was on his way to coming back and winning that fight easily. And he did some stupid throw-over takedown and ended up with Moicano in mount. And that was as soon as it happened, you're like, he's done. He's absolutely done. So it goes in the book as a unanimous decision, but it was not a 30-27 fight by any means. So that was quite a scrap. I don't think that Silva has fought anybody even close to the realm of Drew Dober. So this is the comeback for Drew Dober. Last time he had a loss, he came back and made short work of Ricky Glenn. I don't like the short notice from Silva. I don't like that it's at altitude. I don't like that it's up a weight class. The guy just missed weight once before. I don't know how he's going to carry this weight. That's the thing. Can he make weight now? Piece of cake. Got the extra 10 pounds. But how are you going to carry that weight in fight time? How are you going to carry that weight at elevation? That's a different animal. So I like Dober in this spot. And I'm going to sit back and wait because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of love coming in on Gene Silva. And I will gladly take a plus money shot against a guy who's fighting twice in 3 weeks. I don't care if he won in 5 seconds or not.
All right. It's so funny you mention the bad fight IQ moment. The only dumber fight IQ moment I can remember from this year is Jalen Turner against Moicano.
That's right.
Like literally,
right.
Moicano could be 0-2 in these last two fights, if not for some of the absolute worst, dumbest fight IQ. Jalen, you're just not gonna beat Jalen Turner's bad fight IQ moment. You're just not. Anytime you try the walk off, like hand up back to the opponent, and then you lose and get finished. Not only do you lose, you got finished. It's just number one. I'm with you, though. I went back and watched the fight. Moicano's ground game proved to be the difference. Drew Dober's one mistake, literally his one mistake in the third round, cost him that round because he was winning. It was a war. Dober wasn't tired. Nope. Dober wasn't just laying there like because he was exhausted. Moicano's ground game is just legit. So that being said, I told you. There's a couple of weird things about this fight with Gene Silva. The first is I don't know why he's taking this on such short notice when there really is no reason to, unless you really, there's two reasons. Great paycheck or his gym, who is brilliant, fighting nerds, know something or suspect they have a massive advantage against Drew Dober. So I don't know which it is. If they would tell me, then I would know how I want to be. If they're like, oh, no, this is just a great paycheck, man. The guy just beat Weston Wilson and Charles Jourdain. His roster spot's safe. Why not get a quick paycheck? I'd be like, Dober all day. But if Kyle Barala was like, no, man, no, we know how to beat Drew Dober, I would, okay, that's all I needed to know.
That's true.
That's all I needed to know. So that being said, I can't get there either way because I don't know why Gene Silva is taking this fight. I would lean Dober, I think, at even money, just because his cardio, I think, is going to be a little better. We haven't seen what Gene Silva can do.
Still have no clue. We have no clue.
There's too many unknowns on this guy. I mean, Jourdain, round 2 knockout. Weston Wilson he goes to decision against Viejas, which I got to be honest, I'm not a Kevin Viejas fan. It was a good performance by Silva, but there's just a lot of round 1 finishes here. So it's too many unknowns. I guess for purposes of this video, it's Dober, but I'm probably not going to bet it with my own money. That being said, I'm certainly not going overs in this fight.
This
This is one that could absolutely
Yeah.
finish early. I kind of expect it to. So, in fact, the books do too. It's 1.5 on this fight, and it's like minus 115 both ways. So, Santiago Ponzinibbio and Muslim Salikov. Anytime you can put Muslim Salikov in a co-main, you have to do it. This is where the UFC is these days. I mean, give me a break. This is a rough one to watch, but we do have to handicap it. How do you see this fight going down?
2 old, slow guys going to decision.
Yeah, Jim, how do you see the ratings going down on this? I mean, the fight going down on this fight, man.
I think they wanted to put the slowest fight of the night before Rose and Tracy, so they look twice as fast.
Oh, it looks like
right?
it's in
So it's
fast
like
motion.
you got to have that cool down fight. So, Dober and Silva are going to be wild, and then you're going to have a 15-minute snooze fest. Go take a bathroom break, and make sure you're ass in seat for Rose. Good scheduling by the UFC, in my opinion. This is going to be boring. Santiago Ponzinibbio is going to win a decision. What else? I have nothing else to say. Salikov's cardio is going to fall off a cliff. The thing I can't stand about Salikov, and any fighter that does this, Andy knows my disdain for spinning techniques thrown multiple times. You have one shot to land these flashy techniques. If you throw a spinning heel kick and it misses, just take that move and throw it out. Because your opponent saw it, they're going to see it coming. Okay? Salikov does not do that. He throws all these techniques that use a ton of cardio. You may not realize it, but to throw a spinning hook kick or a spinning back kick, that just zaps your energy. And most of the time, it's a swing and miss. Eddie Hearn, great boxing coach, said this. You want to make a guy tired? Make him miss. Don't cover up. Make him swing at air. It makes you twice as tired if you're actually hitting something. And that's the problem with Salikov. He's old. He already has a bad gas tank. And he swings at air the whole fight. So I think Ponzinibbio is going to take over here. I think the ground game is advantage Ponzinibbio as well. If he ends up on top of Salikov. I could very much see one of these spinning back kicks ending up in just an alley cat fight where they just slam into each other and Ponzinibbio ends up on top. So I don't love Ponzinibbio as a fighter at this point in his career, but I certainly like him better than Muslim Salikov. So I think it's Ponzinibbio by decision. Simple.
Yeah, I'm with you. I never thought I would. I mean, after that fight against Kevin Holland, I never thought I would use the phrase "the much younger Ponzinibbio." I mean, even his win against Morano took that on 3 days. Mm-hmm. No, Morano looked like he had just gotten off the couch, and Morano was winning that fight until Morano just he was just like, I don't have
Nothing
anything left in the gas tank. It's Saturday. I took the fight on Thursday. I've done my best. But that being said, he looked terrible against Morano. Split decision against Pereira and Jeff Neal. That is one judge away from winning. From him winning those, and he ain't fighting Kevin Holland and Muslim Salikov if he's won those fights in a row. So I went back and watched that Kevin Holland. That was a Kevin Holland fight where Kevin Holland cared. It's amazing. In the first couple minutes, you'd be like, Kevin Holland doesn't care. This fight's wrap. Kevin Holland cares. He's going to smoke this guy. I'm with you. It's Ponzinibbio. It's probably Ponzinibbio by decision, unless Salikov literally gets that tired, which he could. I mean. Bro, getting knocked out by Randy Brown in the first round, Randy Brown doesn't do that. And then, he was dead to the world against Dalby. Congratulations against knocking out Andre Fiallo. Where's he at these days? Yeah, look where he's at. He's losing. He's getting knocked out by who is Jacques Gear who might have So I just can't put too much in that, and knocked out Li Jilang. Trinaldo, oh god. So he's 40 years old. Cardio isn't there. Skill set's just been long.
I mean, look at that profile pic, Andy. I mean, what was that
I
taken
know.
back when the Three Stooges were on TV?
I mean, yes.
That's
when
the
Russia
black
was
and white
still
one?
allowed
It's
in the
beautiful.
Olympics. That's how old it was. Russia was allowed in the Olympics.
Here's the thing. I don't know if Ponzinibbio is going to have good cardio either to finish
He's
him.
not.
So I just think
I'll
this is
tell
just
you
a
right now,
dead-
he's not.
Yeah,
He's 37. He's never had good cardio. And he's
if this
only getting
fight
older.
round starts round 2, it's going the distance. It starts 2 minutes. If we get past 2 minutes, it's going the distance.
It's a great point. All right, main event time, and then we're going to do our parlay busters and our woulda, coulda, shouldas after that. The woulda, coulda, shoulda is at the end of the night. What fight do we regret not just being like, why didn't we put the mortgage on that one? So, but first, let's talk about Rose Namajunas and Tracy Cortez. Cortez taking this fight on short notice. Now, this is 5 rounds. That has to be said in a main event in Denver, especially when you have somebody taking it on short notice. How do you see this fight going down?
This is not the fight that I wanted.
Oh, yeah.
I was so excited about Macy Barber against Rose, and I was going to be all in on Macy in that part because of her physicality. We've seen Rose later on in her career here not be willing to get in these physical, just bite on your mouthpiece, grit down, take the punishment, take the cuts, and who can blame her? She's had a long, successful career. And she's talked about it. This is my last run here. After this, I want to be a mom and blah, blah, blah. She's still gunning for this title here, which is good. I don't think that Tracy Cortez is nearly on the same level as Rose skill-wise. I think her striking is very lackluster. She's coming off a good striking display, which I think is the worst possible scenario for her, because now she's going to strike with Rose. The altitude is a huge effect. So we don't know exactly, I haven't been able to find out yet where Rose is training, but Rose trained in elevation for, 8 years of her career?
I think she's going to be fine cardio-wise.
She'll be fine.
One person on this card that I'm not too worried about. It's actually Rose.
She has more experience than anybody else on this card fighting in Denver. All right, she was with Trevor Whitman at Team Elevation with Justin Gaethje for years. I don't know if she's still there, but she's going to have better cardio. Cortez is going to have to wrestle for 5 rounds, and I just don't see that happening. So I think this is Rose. I do think this fight goes to decision. I don't know if Rose really has that desire anymore to go after finishes, more so just get wins and get out unscathed. And once Cortez tires, it's going to be whatever Rose wants. Stick and move, bide your time, feint, leg kicks, move around, stuff a takedown, and I think we just see a veteran performance for 5 rounds from Rose Namajunas in this main event.
I'm with you. What I did was I took Rose's fight against Ribas, and I put it on my screen, and right next to it I put the fight with Cortez and Jasudavicius. And I just wanted to see them side by side fighting different opponents, and just see what it looked like. And Tracy Cortez looked like slow motion on the feet compared to Rose. Like, Rose's striking was just so much more crisp. And she's fighting Ribas, who's like the Tasmanian devil, just, flying, just non-stop. She was one step away from doing the windmill. I mean, now she walked into a million punches along the way. But, yeah, I mean, striking, you were just like, holy cow, this isn't even a contest here. She lost the decision against Manafirot, which I still can't believe that fight took place. He loses a close one against Esparza. So, we made good money picking her against Ribas, and that was one of the fights where MMA Twitter was like, what a ripoff. What a robbery. I was like, I don't know what fight you were watching. That was a pretty clear Rose win. And, you look at Cortez, and she's got the 11-1 record. It looks great. There's a good fight against Jasmine, who's not in Rose's league. Melissa Gatto, who looks great now, but this was back when Gatto hadn't made any of those. Then we got to Justine Kish and Stephanie Egger and
that's a Justine Kish.
Agapova.
Come on.
Yeah. So it's kind of a who's who of nobodies here. I think Cortez will be game in the first couple rounds. She better win all three. She better get a finish or win all three rounds because if it goes to
Agreed.
4 and 5, that's Rose kind of all day long. So I'm with you. It's Rose. It's probably you're right. Probably over because Cortez she's game. She's got good cardio as well. I mean this is another one that's really juiced to the over. But I'm with you 5 rounds. Yeah, I don't see who. I'm not seeing who's going to finish here. So, this is interesting. You got Rose. Let's go through this. Let's see if there's anybody that you would give the edge in cardio to. It ain't Fremd and Petroski, no shot. Jackson and Blackshear, not really. Not Agapova. It definitely ain't Santos.
We've seen Charles Johnson get tired in 3-round fights. They were on short notice.
Yeah, none of these guys.
Maybe Rodriguez.
Maybe C-Rod. It ain't Bonfim.
I'll tell you right now, this Kline girl has cardio. She has cardio.
It's another reason why I love that over so much is they both have. Seriously, it's Kline or Rose is probably.
That's wild, right? Isn't that
it
wild?
Is. Yeah, so I think in the main event you've got the person with the best cardio to go 5 rounds on this card, and it's Rose Namajunas. So. All right, let's get to the Parlay Buster. This is the one that we think everyone is going to be on. This is not us just throwing some random thing. It has to be a pick that we think everyone is going to be on, and it just blows up everyone's card. Mine was so horrible. It was awful. It was we both bad. Yeah, but this is tough because we have to pick the one that everyone is on. We think it's gonna trip people up. All right, Jim. Parlay Buster time. What's the play that everyone is going to play and you think it's a mistake?
Bonfim.
It's a good one.
At that number, it's got to be parlayed. You can't play it straight. People are going to play Bonfim. They are really low on Ange Loosa after that look. It is a recency bias spot. Oh, Bonfim all day long. I'm picking Gabriel Bonfim to drop the ball.
All right. I'm with you. I think I'm going to agree with you, and I really can't even find another one. So we're just going to agree on that one. To me, it's the most obvious parlay piece that has the most downside because Bonfim doesn't get him out of there early. Yikes. You're depending on Bonfim to somehow come away with 2 rounds winning. I'm with you on that one. So we're just going to agree on that one. I can't find another one that I like. All right, woulda, coulda, shoulda. This is the fight that at the end of the night we were like, why didn't we bet that, or why didn't we bet more on that one? What's your woulda, coulda, shoulda for this one?
You go first. I don't want to take yours. I went first last time.
Okay. I think at the end of the night we're going. How did we not lay our mortgage and our neighbor's mortgage fading Muslim Salikov? How did the man is 40 years old at altitude? He didn't have cardio at non-altitude. He just got finished in the first round by Randy Brown. He had nothing for Nicholas Dalby after the first couple minutes. I mean nothing. He got knocked out by Li Jinglang. His only win since 2021 is Andre Falalo, who's getting floored in UAE.
7 times KO'd.
in a row. Okay, you go back to Francisco Trinaldo. Francisco Trinaldo is another guy that's well into his 40s. I mean, you got to go back to Zaleski in 2020 on a split decision win. And listen, as much as Ponzinibbio is, doesn't have the best cardio, I like that he took a lot of time off after the Holland. I know we had a canceled fight here against Danny Rodriguez. He got beat up pretty bad on that one. So I just think at the end of the day, we're going to be done and be like, Jesus. Do you believe we could have bet against Salikov? How is he going to win that fight? So that's my woulda, coulda, shoulda. What do you like?
Well, that's why I let you go first, because that was going to be mine. I knew you liked that one, and that was going to be mine as well. I'll pick another one here. Let's scroll down a little bit. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, I got to say it because Cody Brundage. At plus 140.
At plus money. Yeah, it's the plus money.
It's the number more so that makes it. It's like we could have got, when Cody chokes out Alhassan 3 minutes in, when he's gassed, or he flattens him out. Like, we've seen Alhassan, get his back taken, and he gets flattened out. And as soon as he's flattened out, you're like, oh, no. we're going to hit that moment and go, we could have got plus 140. I'm interested to see what the Cody by finish numbers are, man. It's tempting. But that plus 140 money line, I'm all in. That's the one it could have, should have for me.
I cannot believe how far Cody Brundage has come. We were like, cut him, get him out of here. Now we're waiting.
MMA is so weird.
It is. It absolutely is. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Once again, hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We've got NFL futures and season prop totals coming out. A lot of great content. And join the Discord channel. That's free. Join in the discussion. Myself, Jim, Corbin are in there. We've got some good free plays and information. They're covering all sports. So, been very busy in the tennis channel for Wimbledon this week. So, it's been a lot of fun. Our boy Gilly is in there just
Gilly's
putting live play after live play in there. And he ain't losing. So
yeah, get in that Discord, guys. We need some more MMA chatter in there. So if you guys are MMA fans, jump in, bounce some stuff off us. We'd love to hear what you guys are picking.
Good luck on all of your plays, and we will see you guys on the next breakdown video. Good luck, and we will see everyone Saturday when we do the live show. See you later.
See you Saturday.